negotiations with the more mundane battles of regular citizens. Preparation was the subject of a book I wrote in 2007. In these go-go high-tech times, publishers had wondered, would anyone want to read about an old-school topic like methodical preparation? Actually, yes. Dare to Prepare was a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller, and I hear gratifying stories from dozens of people who were helped by the book. But in my travels since the publication of Dare to Prepare, the need for this book became clearer. I realized the most critical and overlooked preparation tool was the one that most people resist. Scripting gets the short shrift. People prepare well, but perfecting a pitch through scripting requires extra steps and effort at the end of the preparation process that is often neglected. If preparing is running a race, then scripting is crossing the finish line. For me, the mapping out of statements, contingencies, responses, and counters, using a devil's advocate all the while, is the most exciting part of preparation. It can make me downright giddy, and I decided with this book to try to spread that enthusiasm. I came to realize that without scripting, people were left with a gap in their defenses that an opposite party could sense and exploit. My clients and friends identified objectives, researched precedents, and imagined alternatives. But more often than not, if they were unfamiliar with scripting, they fell apart once they arrived at the proverbial table for the discussion. They found themselves winging it unnecessarily. On the other hand, when they did script, the added strategic reinforcements changed their outlook. Scripting is the best confidence booster I know. During the middle of my presentation to the cadets, I caught the eye of my friend, the Twins fan. Next to him, a female cadet was already raising her hand. "How do we make scripting work for us in the context of our negotiations in battle zones?" Bingo! She asked the million-dollar question that her colleague and I had been discussing earlier that day. The young West Point cadets were likely to go off to war. They were going to be engaging in negotiations with tribal leaders and members of other militaries and irate citizens on foreign streets with stakes that make the commonplace negotiations in life and business seem trivial. I wanted to show them how scripting techniques that are useful in the most rudimentary situations could be adapted to many of their own life or death situations. It's the same process, I explained, whether rehearsing for a budgetary request, selling without sacrificing your price, buying a car, presenting the birds and the bees to our children, settling a debt, offering condolences, firing someone, suggesting a divorce, seeking a job, or marshalling support for an expanded medical research program. These are all make-or-break situations of a sort. Now, before I utter another word, I want to be clear that I'm not advocating the end of extemporaneous expression. The vitality of every type of relationship, business or personal, lies in people's ability to express feelings spontaneously from the heart. Ideally, we can engage well with others frequently without the scripting process. Yet, the more I spoke to people about scripting, the more I realized how many applications it had. Managers can script before turning down a job applicant or trying to improve their lot with a bullying boss. Salespeople can script to deal with common buyer objections. Consumers can script to prepare themselves for returning a defective product or seeking an airline upgrade. Parents can script before nudging an adult child out of the house or taking the car keys away from an elderly loved one. It's really about preparing for difficult conversations. It's about navigating life. For the cadets, using a scripting process, when possible, would elevate their success rate and even their safety. And I admonished them that, as often happens in my examples, all the preparation in the world could fail if they don't embrace this final, critical step before turning thoughts into speech. That gap between preparing and presenting, between thinking and speaking, is the Bermuda Triangle of human interaction. And scripting, I believe, is the best tool to bridge it.